Over the last 2+ decades of Miami Marlins baseball, very little has gone right. Rapacious ownership, chronic mismanagement, tragedy, and losing season after losing season. It's been a slog. However, in 2017, the Marlins' biggest superstar single-handedly gave his team's weary fanbase a summer to remember, delivering one of the most spectacular individual seasons in baseball history. In the history of Major League Baseball, few players have boasted the prodigious power of Giancarlo Stanton, the 6'6" behemoth who was seemingly born to smash baseballs. A second-round pick by the then Florida Marlins in the 2007 draft, Stanton, who probably would have gone higher if he didn't have that scholarship offer to go play football at USC, absolutely flew through the minor leagues. In his first full season as a professional, the prodigy, then known as Mike, smashed 39 homers. By the age of 19, Stanton was one of baseball's top prospects, with the industry unanimously slapping an 80 grade on his raw power. And it wasn't long before his otherworldly pop was on full display in the big leagues. Stanton made his MLB debut in 2010 at the age of 20, less than 3 years after getting drafted. And despite some concern over his propensity to swing and miss, Stanton had no problem adjusting to big league pitching. In his first year with the Marlins, Stanton smashed 22 homers in 100 games, finishing second on the team in long balls despite playing less than 2/3 of the season. The following year, Stanton finished 5th in the National League in home runs, becoming the youngest player since Miguel Cabrera to produce a 30-homer season and positioning himself to potentially go down as one of the all-time great power hitters in baseball history. Stanton hit the ball harder than anyone in baseball. He hit the ball further than anyone in baseball. And he looked like a real candidate to take hold of some of baseball's most hallowed home run records. And yet, as his career unfolded and the years went by, Stanton's production consistently left a little to be desired, with unrelenting injuries driving a wedge between his raw ability and his numbers. Consider this, from 2011 through 2016, Stanton was baseball's most efficient power hitter, leading the league in both at-bats per home run and isolated power. He was also the undisputed exit velocity king, distinguishing himself in the early years of the StatCast era with his eye-popping exit velos. But between the knee surgery and the hamstring strain and the broken hamate bone, and of course, getting hit in the face with a pitch, Stanton's home run total over that span ranked just 7th in the majors. Not once during that injury-riddled stretch did he eclipse 37 homers in a single season. Don't get me wrong, he was a star. And the Marlins recognized that too, signing him in 2014 to a $325 million contract extension that at that point represented the largest contract in the history of North American pro sports. But as freakishly talented as he was, almost a decade into his career, Stanton hadn't managed to put together a truly historic season. And it ultimately seemed likelier that he'd go down in history as a great player rather than an all-time great player. Well, that is until 2017. Coming into that year, Stanton, who had long since gone back to Giancarlo, desperately needed a bounce-back season after a slump-addled 2016 and an injury-marred 74-game mess in 2015. And he needed one not just for himself, but for the entire Marlins community. Late in the 2016 season, the Marlins and their fanbase suffered an incalculable loss when 24-year-old ace Jose Fernandez died in a boat crash along with 2 other men, with an intoxicated Fernandez piloting the ship.
Now he's gone and it's hard. It is hard.
It's a tremendous loss.
That incident cast a profound pall over the organization and their community. But the following summer, Stanton, the linchpin of the franchise, helped to ease that grief with one of the most remarkable individual seasons in baseball history, the kind of historic season that he'd always seemed destined for. Funny enough though, Stanton's epic 2017 actually started off pretty slowly. A week into the season, Stanton was hitting .250 with no home runs and an OPS just north of 600. But he got on track soon enough, cranking 2 homers in the Marlins' second home game of the year, then notching another multi-homer contest 10 days later in San Diego.
Runner goes in Yelich, and this is line to left and gone. Giancarlo Stanton again with a bullet out of the yard. This one is a 2-run shot, and it's now a 6-2 Miami lead.
Yeah, he was cooking. 5 weeks into the season, Stanton was threatening for the league lead in homers, his OPS was right around 900, and perhaps most encouragingly, he hadn't missed a single game yet. Actually, Stanton didn't miss his first game that year until May 31st, when he was given a breather for the Marlins' getaway day matinee against the Phillies. And he had earned it. At that point, Stanton was 3 homers back of the MLB lead held by a rookie named Aaron Judge, and he was on pace to obliterate his previous career highs in homers, RBIs, and basically every other counting stat. And not only did he remain healthy as spring turned to summer, but he was remarkably consistent. Stanton hit 7 homers with an OPS around 900 over the first month of the season. He hit 7 homers with an OPS around 900 in May, and he hit 7 homers with an OPS around 900 in June. It was uncanny, and for his efforts, Stanton was named to his 4th career National League All-Star team. But right before the season adjourned for the Midsummer Classic, which happened to be going down in Miami, Stanton discovered another gear. In the week leading up to the All-Star break, Stanton homered 5 more times, including a pair of multi-homer games that brought his first half total to 26, tying him for the National League lead. And if there was any concern that Stanton might lose momentum over the break, or after participating in the Home Run Derby, he swiftly dispelled that notion. In his first 6 games of the second half, Stanton swatted 4 more homers. By the end of July, no player in the National League was within 4 homers of his 33. But as it turned out, Stanton still hadn't peaked, because as sensational as he had been all year, and especially in July, it was Stanton's August that elevated his season from outstanding to historic. To kick things off, on August 4th, Stanton notched his 8th multi-homer contest of the season, smashing a pair of homers off knuckleballer R.A. Dickey in Atlanta in the first game of a 7-game road trip. That performance gave Stanton the outright MLB lead in homers, and he didn't look back. Actually, before the Marlins returned home, Stanton homered 4 more times, smashing his previous career high mark of 37 in the process. And as a matter of fact, Stanton's final home run of that road trip, his 39th of the season, kick-started one of the most incredible home run heaters in baseball history. That bomb kicked off a 6-game homer streak for Stanton, who became just the 12th different player this century to go deep in 6 straight contests.
Big Mike. Stanton's fires it. Stanton to left. Oh my goodness! Get out of here! Number 44. He's homered in 6 straight, and the show goes on.
And what a show it was! Halfway into August, Stanton had 11 homers for the month and had obliterated the Marlins' long-standing single-season record for homers held by Gary Sheffield. He was on one. And after a 3-game drought, his longest stretch in August without hitting a homer, Stanton got right back up on that horse, swatting 5 more dingers in a 6-game span and giving himself a chance at the most prolific home run hitting month in baseball history. With 6 games to go in August, Stanton had 16 for the month, 4 shy of Sammy Sosa's record of 20 for any calendar month. Spoiler alert, Stanton wasn't quite able to reach Sosa's gaudy mark, but he did end up tying Rudy York's record for homers in August with 18, which remains the 2nd highest total ever for any calendar month, and Stanton reached a meaningful milestone along the way.
Stanton drives it center field deep. Back goes Caesar. Gone! 50! Vaporized to center. Miami takes the lead. And Giancarlo just keeps on crushing.
50 homers in a season. That is an exclusive club. At the time, less than 30 players had ever reached that plateau, and now Stanton, the behemoth long regarded as a generational power hitter, was one of them. And he ended up flirting with the mythical 60-homer plateau as well. Even with the Marlins well out of the playoff race, Stanton kept his foot on the gas in September. He played in all but one of Miami's final 28 games that season, smashing 8 more homers in September to bring his final tally to 59. 59! A figure that hadn't been reached since Barry Bonds set the single-season record for homers in 2001, at the height of the steroid era. A total surpassed by only 6 other sluggers in the history of Major League Baseball. It was, simply put, a historic season for Stanton, who led the league in homers and RBIs while appearing in all but 3 of Miami's games. His season was so marvelous, in fact, that he narrowly beat out Joey Votto for National League MVP, even though Votto held the edge in OPS, WRC+, and win probability added. And believe it or not, it was also Stanton's final season with the Marlins. Miami traded him that winter to New York, where Stanton has spent the better part of the last decade vacillating between fearsome slugger and off-injured liability. At this point, the 500 career homers that once seemed inevitable are now more of a question mark. And Stanton's legacy will likely be one of those that demands the caveat, if only he hadn't been so hurt. Without a doubt though, the pinnacle of Stanton's long but injury-riddled career will forever be that 2017 season. The year where everything came together, his body cooperated, and the most prodigious slugger of his generation put up the kind of numbers he was always expected to. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button.